Hello! The Alabama State Department of Education is happy to provide this short tutorial to assist parents and families of students enrolled in Alabama's public schools to better understand the score report for the ACAP alternate assessment. If you are viewing this video, your child or family member may have participated in the ACAP alternate assessment. As a result of that participation, your child or family member received a score report. This score report is referred to as an individual score report, or ISR for short. During this tutorial, we will look at each section of that report, and I will explain each part in detail so that you can better understand the information. My name is Susan Beard, and I work in student assessment, where our office manages all of the state assessments. Follow along with me as we take a closer look at the ISR. Before we begin, let's get a better understanding of the ACAP alternate assessment. The ACAP alternate assessment was developed from Alabama's academic content standards, specifically the alternate achievement standards. The ACAP alternate assessment is administered to students with the most significant cognitive disabilities in grades 2 through 8, grade 10, and grade 11 in the areas of English language arts and math. The ACAP alternate assessment is also administered to students with the most significant cognitive disabilities in grades 4, 6, 8, 10, and 11 for science. This assessment is administered every year during the spring, which is typically between March and April. The ISR has 2 pages. On page 1 at the top, you will find the name, the grade, the subjects taken, and some other identifying information pertaining to the student. In the area marked by red, you will find information about the ACAP alternate assessment that I shared on slide 1, as well as the purpose of the ISR. It is important that parents or family members understand why the ISR is being provided. The ISR contains valuable information about the student's performance on the assessment and will help teachers, parents, or family members better address areas of need. The ISR will also provide information about a student's area of strength and how well the student is progressing over time. Performance level descriptors are included on the ISR and describe what a typical student who performs at each level can do. There are 4 levels, each level increasing in performance. Students who perform at level 1 have a minimal understanding of the standards. Students performing at level 2 have a partial understanding of the standards. Students performing at level 3 have a strong understanding of the standards, and students performing at level 4 have an advanced understanding of the standards. The performance level descriptors are an easy way to understand how your student is performing. The next section on the score report is titled Student Results. This table outlines student performance for each content area assessed for the grade level of the student. The performance level, which corresponds to the performance level descriptors, is marked for each subject area. Next to the performance levels is the scale score. The scale score is an interpretation of a raw score. The scale score is simply a raw score that has been converted and placed onto a standardized scale. In other words, if a raw score is 80, meaning the student answered 80 questions out of 100 questions correctly, that score is adjusted and converted into a scale score. The purpose in doing this is to make it easier for teachers to easily see how students are performing. If a teacher wants to know how students compare to other students, or how students are performing in a content area, looking at a large number of raw scores would be too difficult. But when those raw scores are converted to scale scores and placed on a standardized scale, that equates to a performance level, then teachers are able to clearly see how each of the students is performing. So to recap, the scale score you see on the ISR was converted from a raw score. That scale score corresponds to a performance level, which is levels 1, 2, 3, or 4. For example, if 25 out of 30 items were answered correctly, the scale score conversion would be 525. This score of 525 is interpreted as performance level 3. Seeing the performance levels makes it easier to understand what a student can do. Now, let's take a look at the growth score. The growth score describes the student's learning over time compared to other students who took the same test and had similar scores the previous year. Growth scores are only provided for English language arts and math, and only when students moved up one grade from the previous year. For example, a student was in grade 3 in 2021 and moved to grade 4 in 2022 and received valid test scores in both years in a content area. Growth scores are percentiles that range from 1 to 99. Percentile scores do not indicate how many items the student answered correctly. Instead, these scores indicate how much growth a student achieved. Some of you may be familiar with percentile scores when a baby is given a percentile score based on their weight or height. A baby who is in the 25th percentile for height means the baby is taller than approximately 25 out of 100 other babies that are his or her age. This means the baby is taller than 25% of children their age. So in terms of growth scores, a student with a growth score of 45 on English language arts means the student grew more in academic achievement in English language arts than approximately 45% of students in Alabama who were also testing on English language arts in grade 4. The final column under student results is the growth category. The growth category indicates student growth scores in 4 levels. Level 1 includes students with the least amount of growth, and Level 4 indicates students with the most amount of growth. Again, by placing students in these categories by levels provides teachers with an easy way to see how students grew in each academic area. It is important to note that the growth category and the performance levels are not associated with each other, even though both of these categories use 4 levels. Now let's turn our attention to page 2 of the ISR. Here you will see each of the content areas for which the student participated on the ACAP alternate assessment. The bar graph for each content area represents the scale score that equates to the performance level. The arrow on the bar graph indicates where the student falls within one of the performance levels. For easy reference, the scale score and the performance level are shown beneath the bar graph. Directly beneath the bar graph, you will find a table titled Reporting Categories. Each category corresponds to a subset of the alternate achievement standards. These are the standards the student is being taught in school. Each reporting category consists of a set of test items that measure knowledge, skills, or concepts. A closer look at the reporting categories table shows a series of stars. A student's progress in each of the reporting categories is indicated by 1, 2, or 3 stars. At the bottom of page 2 of the ISR, there is information that explains the star system. The progress level, which is indicated by the stars, is an estimation based on the number of questions the student has answered correctly, in comparison to that of a student who is just entering the Level 3 category. If the student's performance is well below that of a beginning Level 3 student, the student will be given 1 star, which indicates support needed. This means the student is in need of support. If the performance of the student is close to that of a beginning Level 3 student, the student is given 2 stars, which indicates on track. This means the student is progressing toward mastery on the standards but may need instructional support. If the performance of the student is well above the beginning Level 3 student, the student is given 3 stars, which indicates prepared. This means the student is clearly progressing toward the mastery of the standards. In an effort to assist parents and families of students participating on the ACAP alternate assessment, the ACAP alternate ISR quick guide was developed. This quick guide provides information about each part of the ISR in an easy-to-understand format. The ISR is available on Alabama's state website, alabamaachieves.org, under the Division of Instruction tab. You may also get the quick guide from the school in which the student is enrolled. It has been a pleasure taking a look at the ACAP alternate individual student report with you. The Student Assessment section of the Alabama State Department of Education is available to assist you with any questions you may have regarding this tutorial. You may also contact the school in which the student is enrolled to get more information regarding the ISR.